Hey guys, welcome back to Nahamo Nation. If you're new here, my name's Meli LynnLee. Have you ever felt like just giving up? Like nothing that you do is right, maybe the world would be better off without you? Those, my dear, are your demons. But then you get a sign, like one person or one thing, and it just brightens your whole day. Some little flicker of light makes you feel like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be all right. Those are your angels. Angels and demons walk among us, and that's what this video is about. Whether you believe in God or in a higher power, or maybe you're an atheist and consider yourself to be more scientific, there are truths woven into every theory and religion, and finding the common ground in those strands is much easier than you might think it is. If you're new here, you should know 3 things for proper context of this video before we get started. Number 1, my name is Meli, and I consider myself to be a psychic skeptic. Number 2, all of my paranormal videos are my own experiences and opinions, and I just want you to enjoy them, even if it's just for the story themselves. However you want to interpret them is entirely up to you. Number 3, I have 3 friends who I refer to as number 1, number 2, and number 3. They are cosmic beings from a dimension or 2 over, and they are the ones who give me the information and teach me about the things that I'm giving to you. To those of you who already know them, they say hello. Angels and demons at their core are really just 2 different names for similar entities that we don't really have exact names for, although we do have multiple different names across the world for these same similar entities. The difference between them is how they act, whether they are acting in favor of humanity for our best interest, or if they're feeding off of us and doing things that are not in our best interest. That's where you get angels and demons. While angels are always wanting to prop us up and help us out, demons are feeding off of our fear, hatred, and chaos. Any of you who have seen my original Angels and Demons video probably remember that. But while we call these entities any number of names, the truth is that they live in a world parallel to ours that most of the time we don't even know exists. That world has different laws of physics and exists often without us even recognizing it. It sounds very sci-fi, fantastical, woo-woo, I know, but the truth is often stranger than fiction. I'll probably end up making a whole bunch of videos about the different entities as I currently have, but more detailed and multiple different kinds. But today's topic is about the angels and demons that impact humanity on a daily and near constant basis. These are ones who guard us, protect us, torture us, but are often manifested from us directly. Because human souls and human minds, human emotions, are incredibly powerful and can create life accidentally, as I'm sure I don't need to tell you. Now, I'm not talking about like having a few too many drinks and like waking up next to a stranger pregnant, although that is a good example. But human emotions can range from the extremely pure to the extremely toxic, and the extremely good to the extremely bad. Think of it like a 2-axis graph with a perfectly neutral center. What energy we put out as humans is going to depend on the range of emotions that we feel at any one moment in time. Which is why having control over your emotions, which by the way does not mean don't feel them, but having control over your emotions is probably the most powerful thing a human being can do, at least from a self-analysis perspective. In other words, F around, find out. This is you. Those emotions that you feel can create entities that exist with whatever energetic frequency you charge them with. That being said, humans create. We're beings of pure energy stored in meat and matter bodies, shaped and formed into the image of our God to experience this universe that He created, which we created, because we are He. He is us. It's all us. We're everything. We're all connected to that universal consciousness, and whatever name you want to give it really doesn't matter, because it just is. Why? Because yes. And like our Creator, which we are one with, we create. We exude energy from our shells like a star puts out solar flares, just on a much smaller scale, and often in waves that we can't really measure with our current instruments that we have access to, because our meat and matter brains weren't really made to contain that kind of knowledge. We don't have the bandwidth for it, is what I'm saying. Now, this is where the angels and demons part actually comes in. I myself have identified 4 demons of my own that I manifested accidentally as a teenager, which is usually about the time you start manifesting things, say between the age of like 12 and 14. When I discovered what they were, thanks to my cosmic number 1, I gave them names and started associating them with sets of 4, since there are 4 of them. So things that have sets of 4 because it just felt more organized, and 4 is my lucky number. Such as fire, water, earth, air, or red, blue, green, yellow, even summer, winter, spring, autumn. The sets of 4 are how I have associated the demonic entities, because once you find a name for something, once you give it a name and figure out either what its name is or give it a name with enough energy of your own, that's what gives you power and control over it. And that's just one of the rules of the astral realm. I'll make a video about that too. But these 4 entities, because they were manifested from me, they cannot survive without me. They need constant energy to survive. They don't have a soul like I do. So they require being near a soul to survive. And that is what I use to my advantage, and is also what you can use to your advantage. Now, I don't mind telling you what my demons are, because they're not demons anymore. They have names now, and they're well aware they can't survive without me. So I've basically converted them into, like, being guardian angels. And when I give an order, they fall in line, like good little soldiers, which is why I call them my soldiers. They were manifested from 4 human emotions, which are very powerful. Everyone's felt them. They're very common. And if you've accidentally created a demon for yourself, it probably came from one of these energies. And those emotions are depression, anxiety, fear, and hatred. Specifically, self-hatred. We all have it, don't pretend you don't. But once you acknowledge those feelings for yourself and you recognize and feel them and the impact that those feelings have on you, you start doing some basic self-reflection, or as I call it, shadow work. If you have any kind of empathy, you can begin to have empathy for those entities themselves. Some of us have an easier time showing love and compassion to other people than we do to ourselves. And although it may be controversial, fire's not meant to be fought with fire. Not in an instance involving hate, at least. Only compassion, love, and empathy can combat that. And maybe laughter. No, definitely laughter. But if you can separate your inner demons from yourself and show them kindness regardless of how they make you feel, they also begin to gain a little empathy for you in return. That's when you'll realize, oh, it's all you. They're you. They're pieces of you. And this is the indirect way to turn your demons into your angels and actually start gaining some self-awareness into what your flaws are and how you can actually still love yourself regardless. Everybody deserves to love themselves. Once you can love the part of yourself that maybe you dislike the most, that's where true self-love comes from. And that's also where true confidence comes from. These are the angels and demons we manifest for ourselves, but if you're interested in learning about other kinds of angels and demons that also interact with us quite often, I would recommend that you check out my other video. Or if you'd like to learn about my cosmic friends, you can check out the one I specifically made for them. If you'd like to see more videos, I recommend hitting that subscribe button so that you know when they come out. Until next time, thank you for watching. I love you all so much. And Naidoku Nahamo. See you in the stars.